All right, what up, though? Welcome to another episode of Play with the Flame. I am your host, Yeusi Jami. I am excited. So, the last episode we did, I announced that it was our first simulcast, audio as well as visual edition of Play with the Flame, and that turned out to not be the case because of a million different forms of technical difficulty. But today we are on video, putting this on the tube, and now you get to experience all of my, all that along with the word. So without further ado, we're gonna get into these topics. We are starting in the NBA playoffs, and primarily with the city that I'm sitting in, that I reside in, that I'm happy to call home, my adopted home. ATL ho, Atlanta, Georgia, is defying all expectations in the playoffs right now. I'm gonna be sipping coffee while we're doing this, so don't mind me. So the Hawks are not supposed to be here right now, competing in the Eastern Conference round of the playoffs. Trae Young has proven to the world that he is that dude. He is indeed Ice Trae, ice cold water in his veins. He don't fear nothing or nobody. I'm loving it, absolutely loving it. No, it's been a long time since Atlanta has had any kind of success in sports at all. For real, since the basketball team was all right under Coach Mike Budenholzer some years back. I don't think anybody took them seriously as contenders. Maybe people in Atlanta did, but nobody outside of Atlanta, because it was the era of LeBron and the Cavs and all that. But prior to then, it's like the 90s with the Atlanta Braves. Last time some winning happened, it's been a minute. So any kind of success that the Hawks can have, especially at this point in their development, because nobody saw this coming. Nobody expected this group to be this good. They started off the season sucking, pretty much. Not playing well at all. Fired the coach halfway through the season. And then assistant coach off the bench stepped up, Nate McMillan, who just got fired by the Indiana Pacers last season, stepped up and has turned this team into one of the best teams in the league by far. Since he took over, they got like fourth best record in the league or something like that. I can't remember the stat off the top of my head, but they doing their thing. And it is in large part to Trae Young doing his thing, and the fact that the front office has put a very good team around him. They are really deep with like solid role players, solid NBA guys who are not, superstars. It's not a big three, but everybody on the team can play. And Trae is able to really, with his style, dictate the offense, dictate to the defense what's going to happen. And so I want to show some love to Trae, show some love to Clint Capella, who came from my previous adopted home, Houston, with the Rockets. He is playing like the big man that he is. It's a very, very good thing. Even in 2021, to have a big man on your basketball team that can pull down boards reliably, protect the middle, do all the things that Clint is so good at doing, catching the lobs. And speaking of lobs, also shout out to John Collins, because he is doing some really unprecedented stuff in his role as a power forward for these Hawks. The amount of threes that he hits combined with the amount of dunks that he gets, it's like another stat that I can't think of off the top of my head, but he's in very, very rarefied air when it comes to the amount of dunks and three-pointers he's had over the course of the regular season. It's like almost nobody else ever has done both of those things as well as he's doing it right now. So he is an invaluable piece on that squad, because he's able to catch the lob, do all the things he does in the paint, as well as be a threat from outside. So defenses have a really hard time strategizing against him, especially because Trae is sucking up so much oxygen with his penetration and his ability to pull up from half court. You never know what he gonna do. You never know where John Collins is gonna be elsewhere on the floor while Trae is out there working his magic. So it's a beautiful combination. And also got to give some love to Lou Will. Lou Will, subject of so many hip-hop blogs, discussions over the course of the years. Shout out to polyamory and ethical non-monogamy in all its forms. Lou Will was one of our celebrity representatives for a minute, with his publicly, honestly having his 2 girlfriends. I don't know what he's doing with his dating life these days, but that was quite a story for a minute. I think he was in Toronto at the time. Lou Will also spent a little time with the Lakers. You know, I always appreciate that. And then, you know, he's been 6th man of the year, and he is an automatic bucket. Definitely helps to have him coming off the bench or even sharing the backcourt along with Trae to generate offense when it's needed. It is also very rare in this league to have players who are actually capable of creating their own offense off the dribble for themselves and for others, no matter who is guarding them. And Lou Will is one of those dudes, so it helps a lot. And so, shout out to the Hawks. It's 2-2 right now. As of this recording today, July 1st, in the series with the Bucks. Giannis is out for at least game 5. We'll see what happens with Trae if he's able to lace him up tonight. But yeah, no matter what happens from here on out, the Hawks season has been a tremendous success. I'm proud of them boys, happy for the city. And you know, as a Laker fan, a lifelong Laker fan, the only team I've ever really rooted for, being that the Hawks are in the Eastern Conference and that I am like definitely planting my roots down here in Atlanta. This is home for me. I think I can make the Hawks my Eastern Conference team that I root for and feel pretty good about it. It doesn't really compete with my Lakerdom. So yeah, I'm on board. ATL, how? What else we got here? I wanted to also give a shout out to the one and only CP3, Chris Paul, getting himself and his team into his first ever NBA Finals at the age of 36. I'm a Chris Paul fan. I'm pretty much a fan of everybody in the orbit of LeBron James, just because of their empowerment of themselves and their communities and their families. Chris Paul, president of the NBA Players Association. Chris Paul, businessman. Chris Paul, player advocate. Making sure everybody is cashing them checks to the largest degree that they possibly can within the negotiations with the NBA and the owners. Gotta love it. A fan of him as a player. I appreciate point guards in general. Magic Johnson being my introduction to NBA greatness. Me playing point a little bit in my younger years. I love seeing the point guard do his thing. Yeah, so good luck to the Suns. If Atlanta, the Hawks, are blessed to make it into the finals, then it's a win-win for me, I think. Just be happy to see Chris Paul and the Hawks go at it. If it doesn't work out that way, happy for Chris Paul, whatever level of success he's able to get. Keep doing your thing, brother. And speaking of Chris, he knocked out the Clippers. Again, as a Laker fan, can't really tolerate. No, it'd be cool if the Clippers didn't try to put themselves into the Lakers category, talking about they taking over LA and all that. I'm not even from LA, but I'm Lakers faithful. So the Clippers have kind of put themselves in a position of trying to be competition for the Lakers. So as long as they doing that, I'm always gonna be happy to see them fail. You know, Clippers gonna clip. They've been a horrible franchise for pretty much their entire existence. Can't call them horrible now, but they not champions. They not hanging no banners. They ain't got no banner they can take to that new arena they built in Inglewood as of yet. The Lakers just won last year. Still Lake Show all day, every day. All right? So, yeah, that about does it for the sports segment. We're going to move on